software is nothing but a set of instructions that you are trying to give. Software is getting classified into two different softwares. The first one is application software and the second one is system software. It is a computer program which controls the system hardware plus it interacts with the application software. Compiler will convert whatever I have written in high-level language, it will translate into machine code. Hello everyone. I need to change this world. Unfortunately, I don't have the source code with me. If you're not understanding what is that I'm trying to say, I think you are in the right class. Myself, Kaushik, I'm a lecturer in the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College. So dear students, I will be handling the subject called Computer Concepts and C Programming for all of you, those who are in B.C.A. first semester. Hope you have seen the introduction video that I have done for all of you. So there, I have discussed in detail about the syllabus and different units that we have with respect to this subject. I recommend all of you to watch that before you see this video. Alright, so those who are feeling that I'm from the non-computer science background and I don't know anything with respect to the C programming language, it's going to be very tough. And how do I learn? So if you have all these questions, I'm here to promise all of you, those who are aspiring to become a good programmers in future and to get good job in the different IT companies as a programmers. My dear students, take my sessions seriously and watch all the sessions, follow all my sessions, and I will promise you that you will say that and I will make you to say that this is the most interesting and easy subject that you had. Alright, so guys, by promising this for all of you, let me start the session for you guys. What is that I have in this session? I will be discussing three topics in this session. The first topic is going to be a computer softwares. You all know that we have different types of softwares. You all know that we have different types of softwares. I will be discussing the different types of softwares that we have under this topic. Alright, so after discussing the computer softwares and the types of softwares, I will also talk about what are the different languages that we have. So this is going to be the agenda for the day. Alright, so without wasting much of your time, let me get into the session. So we are starting with the first topic, that is computer software. What exactly computer software is all about? What is software, sir? We have used a lot of softwares, but we don't know what exactly the software is all about. I will tell you a simple example for all of you. Imagine I'm a robot. So I have to come from the college to Big Bazaar. Imagine I have to travel from college to Big Bazaar. How do I go? I'm a robot. I don't know anything. So first I will give one instruction. Come out of the college. That is the first instruction that I have given to the robot, right? So after that, what does that I have to do? The second instruction, go near the car. Third instruction, open the car door. Fourth instruction, sit inside the car. Fifth instruction, close the door. Sixth instruction, start the engine. Seventh instruction, wear the seatbelt, it's a mandatory. Eighth instruction, put the GPS turn on to the Big Bazaar. Ninth instruction, start driving. 10th instruction, reach the Big Bazaar and stop the car. The next instruction, turn off the engine. Next instruction, open the seat belt. The next instruction, close the door, get down. So it goes on. So let me not discuss that in detail. What did you observe? Do I have only one instruction? No, I don't have one instruction. I have more than 12 to 13 instructions together. Can I call that as a set of instructions? Yes, you can call. So I am giving a set of instructions to that hardware. Hardware is a robot, right? Yes. So can I call that set of instructions as a software? Yes. That's what I will call it as a software. So software is nothing but a set of instructions that you are trying to give. That's what you need to understand at this point of time. So fine, you understood what is software. So software is very simple, easy definition. So remember everybody, software is a set of instructions. That's what you need to remember. So that's what we call it as a computer software. So fine, when it comes to the software, how many different categories of softwares do we have? So please make a note of this. So we have these many different types of software. Let me discuss that one by one. So I want all of you to have a notepad next to you. So please make a note of all these points. The first thing, the software, that is what I will call as a computer software, is getting classified into two softwares. The first one I will call it as the application software. What is the first type we have? We have the application software. In the same way, we have the second type. So that is what I will call it as a system software. So basically, the computer software is getting classified into two different softwares. The first one is application software and the second one is system software. So in this session, I will be discussing this in detail. Okay, so please understand this. So fine, let's start with the first one. I have application software. In this application software, we have two different softwares. So what is the first one that we have? We have application specific. What is that? We have application specific software and the second one, that is general purpose software. What exactly it means, I will be discussing that in detail one by one in the coming slides. So let me just give you the overall glimpse of different types of software that we have. So what is the first one as of now? We have application software in that two types. The first one that we have is application specific software and the second one is general purpose software. So fine, what is next? So we have system software. When it comes to the system software, four things you need to remember. We have four different categories, four different classifications. What is the first one that I have? The first one that I have is language translator. The beauty of this language translator, you have to listen to me. Though the computer is pampered and born and brought up with the US people, computer doesn't understand English. So it understands only zeros and ones. So for that reason, so they have the translator. So that's a funniest part that we need to understand. All right. So when it comes to the language translator, again, we have three things. One is assembler, compiler, and interpreters. I will be speaking about all these things in detail in the coming slides. All right. I'm just giving you a glance of this tree structure. So fine, we understood the language translator. The second one that we have is loader and linker. The second one that we have is loader and linker. What exactly is loader and linker? Let me speak about the loader and linker now itself. Whenever you have a program, so everything for that program, you will not code in that program. Say for example, I need to use a print statement. Say something like, I have something called print. I have something called print. How exactly the computer will understand if I say print, it has to print whatever I have given inside this code. How the computer will know? It's a question, right? Say for example, if I say the word print, so how the computer will understand I have to print. So for that reason, I have already defined what exactly print is all about. So like that, I have defined a lot of things which I will be using in my programming and I have stored somewhere. So that I have to link to my program. I have stored it somewhere, right? So I have to link it to my program where exactly I have stored. So that is done by linkers. That is done by linkers and loaders. That's what you have to remember at this point of time. I will be discussing that in detail, but as of now, you just have to remember that. So fine. So we understood different types of softwares, that is application software and system software. So again, when it comes to application software, we have two different types, that is application specific and general purpose. And then when it comes to system software, again, we have language translator. When it comes to language translator, we have three different types of language translator. The first one is assembler, compiler, and interpreter. So fine, we have not discussed much in detail about it. All right. So the second one that we have discussed is linkers and loaders. So after that, what is the next thing that we have? The next thing that we have is operating system. To be very frank, I would like to call this as a brain of the computer, because the most of the things is done by operating system. How, sir? I will be discussing that in detail again. All right. So the different types of operating systems are Linux and Windows. Probably all of you would have used Windows, right? If I say, like, what is the operating system that you are using? So you might see that blue screen, right? With a window theme. All right. So that's what we call it as a Windows operating system, is it? So guys, we use a operating system. Most of you use operating system called Windows operating system. Okay. In the same way, we have one more time. That's what we call it as a Linux here. All right. So we have different operating system, like, you have Android and a lot of different operating system we have. What is the role of this operating system? The main thing of this operating system is, I will be discussing that again in the coming slide in detail. All right. I have some last topic. I have the utility software. What exactly this utility software is all about, and what is that I have in the utility software? So guys, please understand antivirus and backup software. So this is what I will call it as a utility softwares. So please understand, I have 4 softwares which comes under system software. The first one is language translator, second one is linker and loader, third one is operating system. Please remember, even operating system is also treated as a software, and it comes under the category of system software. So fine, the last one is utility software. So this is what the different types of softwares that we have. It's time to understand this one by one in detail. So what is that I have next? So please understand, I have 2 different types of softwares. So what is that I have? So let's check that. I think I have already discussed that. All right, I have the first one is, guys, what is the first one that we have? The first one that I have here is system software. In the system software, please understand that. So we have language translator, we have operating system and utility software, and also linker and loader. So please understand, what is system software at this point of time? That's very important that you need to understand the definition of system software. Why should I have system software? What is the role of system software? That's very important that you need to understand. System software is a computer program. What is that? System software is a computer program that controls the system hardware. It's very important. Imagine I have the hardware. Imagine this is a CPU. All right. So just to give you an example, I have the CPU with me. All right. Imagine this as a CPU. I have the computer, or have the computer program which controls the system hardware, So imagine this device is controlled by a program, okay, which controls the system hardware. So fine. Plus, what exactly it is doing? It also interacts with the application software. It controls the system hardware plus application software. So this is very easy to remember the definition. You just remember this diagram, the definition will come to your mind. What exactly it is? It is a computer program which controls the system hardware plus it interacts with the application software. So that's what you need to remember when it comes to the system software. So fine, you understood the definition. What is that? It controls and coordinates the system hardware plus it deals with what? What exactly it does with application software? It interacts with the application software. So fine, as of now you don't know anything about application software, which I'm going to discuss now. All right. So this is the definition that you need to understand with respect to system software. You also know different types of system softwares. So fine. So let's go to the application software. What exactly application software is all about? So let's understand this. When it comes to application software, please understand this carefully. When it comes to application software is generally written in high-level language. Application software is generally written in high-level language, and it has got 2 types. It has got two types. The first one, that is application specific. The first one, that is application specific. What exactly application specific is all about? So, application specific in the sense you will be performing some specific task with that software. If I'm using a software, I will be using that software to perform some specific tasks. Say for example, paint. Why do I use paint? So to draw, to paint something, to edit, to do something with image, or to do something with the paint, I will be using the paint software. I'm doing some specific task. So such softwares, I will be calling it as a application specific softwares. But there are some softwares, so which is not application specific, so that I will call it as a general purpose softwares. It is not meant to serve one specific serve or one specific purpose. That's what you need to understand with respect to general purpose softwares. So how many types of softwares we have? In application software, we have two. One is application specific, another one is general purpose. When it comes to application specific, I repeat for all of you, so that software is meant or it is designed and developed to serve one single purpose is what I would like to quote at this point of time. Alright, so this is what you need to remember with respect to application software. Alright, so you got to know about two things. One is system software, another one is application software. A fair idea with a definition. So fine, let's understand the different system software that we have. Alright, so let's start with a language translator. Let's start with a language translator. What exactly language translator? I think I have already told you guys. Computer will not understand zeros and ones. So for that reason, the computer uses the language translator. Alright, so let's start. The translator performs the translation. What exactly the translator is doing? Translator is performing the translation. What exactly translation in the sense? It is converting, it is transforming from one language to another language. That's the role of translator. So how exactly it is doing? Let's understand this. So translation of high-level programming or assembly-level programming or into machine-level programming. What is that? So we have three different languages. That's what you need to understand before you understand this definition. So I have high-level language, I have assembly-level language, I have machine-level language. How many languages we have? Let's understand this before we understand this definition. I'll make this definition very simple for you. Alright. So what is the first one we have? HLL, high-level language. The next one is assembly-level language. ALL. Alright. The last one is machine-level language. MLL. So we have three different languages at this point of time. So what is that? High level language, assembly level language and machine level language. I will be discussing this languages in detail in the coming slide, but as of now, you just have to remember three languages we have. So we write the program generally in these two languages. One is in high level language, another one is in machine level language. Is it? No, assembly level language. What is that? Please don't get confused. We write the program in these two languages. One is high level language, another one is assembly level language. But the challenge for all of us is the computer will understand only machine level language. It will not understand high level language and also it will not understand the assembly level language. So who will help me to convert or to translate? So for that reason, I have the language translator. So language translator will translate my program from high level. If I have written my program in high level, so it will convert it into machine level. Or if I have written my program in assembly level, so it will convert that into machine level. That's what you need to understand. That's a simple definition that you need to understand. So hope you understood the language translator. Now, it's time to understand different types of translators that we have. So we have the first one as assembler. What exactly the assembler is all about? It's very simple. I will speak about this assembler. Okay. So we have the second one is compiler and the last one is interpreter. So three different translators we have. So let's understand these 3 different translators, especially the language translators in detail now. So what is that I have? The first one, let's start with the assembler. What is that I have? Let's start with the assembler. What exactly assembler is all about? If I have written my program in assembly level language, I need somebody who can translate my assembly level language to machine level language. So who is translating? The person called assembler. The person called assembler. So guys, assembler is helping me. Assembler is helping me to translate my source code. Source code in the sense what? Whatever the program that I have written, I will call that as a source code. Please remember that. Whatever I have written, so that is what I will call it as a source code. So that source code will be passed to the assembler. So assembler will convert. If I have written my source code in assembly level language, so assembler will convert that into machine code. Assembler will convert that into machine code. That's what you need to remember. When it comes to assembler, I have written my source code in assembly level language. I will pass that source code to the assembler. Assembler will convert that, or it will translate to the machine code. That's the job of assembler that you have to remember. I have some few examples when it comes to assembler. So you can just make a note of it if you want. All right. So I have TASM. All right. TASM. So turbo assembler, and I have MASM. All right, Microsoft macro assembler. This is the example for assemblers that if you want, you can make a note of it. All right, so hope you understood about what is assembler. Now, it's time to understand. So what exactly the compiler is all about? So what exactly the compiler is all about? Let's understand this. So please understand. I have written my program. Okay, I have written my program in high level language. When it comes to assembler, so I had written my program in assembly level language. But please remember, when it comes to compiler, I have written my program in high level language. This is what you need to understand. Please make a note of this. This is very important in this dissertation. I have written my program. My program is in, I have written that in a high level language. All right. So I will pass that code to the compiler. I will pass that code to the compiler. So compiler will convert whatever I have written in high level language. It will translate into machine code. It will translate into machine code. What is machine code? Machine code is nothing but whatever I have written. So everything will be converted into the form of zeros and ones. Everything will be converted into the form of zeros and ones. That's what you need to understand. That's what I will call it as a machine code. So fine, you understood what exactly the compiler is doing. So when I will be using the compiler? When my source code is in the high level language. When my source code is in the high level language. So that's what you need to understand with respect to the compiler. So basically, I will be using this compilers for C and C++ programming. Okay, if I'm doing my programming with a language called C or C++, I will be using this compiler is what you need to remember. So fine. So what is the next one that I have? All right, let's check that. So I have interpreter. Very interesting stuff. In fact, you need to understand. When it comes to interpreter. So guys, please make a note of it. Interpreter. You might get a doubt here. So interpreter reads a statement of high level language. So you said compiler will also execute or it will translate your program if you have written that in a high level language. But you're saying the same thing for interpreter also. What exactly it means? What is the main difference that we have when we have the compiler and when we have interpreter? Yes, my dear students, compiler compiles everything, whatever you have written your source code in one go. But interpreter will not do like that. So at a time, it will compile or it will translate only one statement. Line by line is what I can tell you. Interpreter will execute line by line, only one line at a time. So if you are getting executed your statements line by line, then you are using interpreter. If you want to execute in a one go, in a single go, So you are using the compiler. That's a major difference. That's a main thing that you have to remember. So what exactly interpreter is all about now? So please understand. Interpreter reads one statement. Please understand. Interpreter reads once a statement of high-level program at a time and translate into machine level language and executes it immediately. Say for example, I have written my program, okay? So my program contains, or my source code contains 6 lines. What exactly interpreter does? So it will take only one line at a time. Only one line at a time. That's what you need to remember. So this line, so I have this line in high level language. This will be converted into machine level language. By whom? By interpreter. By whom? By interpreter. Once I'm done with this line, then only I will go to the next line. Suppose if I have any errors in this line, I will stop there itself. That's what you need to understand. But when it comes to the compiler, it will not do like that. It will compile the complete program, whatever you have written. It will translate the entire program in one go. It will not execute line by line. Alright, that's a major difference that you need to understand when it comes to the compiler and interpreter. So guys, you got the deep knowledge with respect to language translator. So that is one of the system software that we have. When it comes to language translator, please remember we have 3. The first one that we have is assembler. The second one that we have is compiler. The third one that we have is interpreter. So this is what we have as a language translators. Moving on to the next topic that we have. So the next system software that we have is operating system. What exactly operating system is all about, sir? In your beginning session, you said you will call this as a brain of the computer. Yes, I would like to quote this as a brain of the computer because most of the important things, most of the jobs, most of the activities is controlled and coordinated by this. How? So please understand. Let's understand this operating system bit, okay, before we moving on. All right. So guys, operating system acts as an intermediate between users. So imagine I have users here. So it acts as an intermediate between users. And also it acts as an intermediate between hardware. It acts as an intermediate between hardware. Also it acts as an intermediate between application softwares. You can also think like that. So it acts as an intermediate between all these things. So that's why I will call this as a brain of the computer, because it controls and coordinates almost everything in the computer. Basically, operating system is a system software. It controls and coordinates all the activities of your computer, and it acts as an intermediate between the user, hardware, and the application program. So this is what I will call it as a operating system. When it comes to operating system, we have different types of operating system. We have Windows. Probably all of you are using Windows, right? The same way we have Linux. So Linux is open source. It's free. Whenever you want to purchase Windows, you have to pay some amount. All right. So that's a proprietary software. But when it comes to Linux, it's open source. Everybody can avail it for free. In the same way, we have different operating systems. So we have Android operating systems. We have iOS for Mac. So this is the different operating systems which controls and coordinates the system. That's what you need to understand. Most of the activities are controlled and coordinated by this system software. So that is what I will call it as a operating system. If I don't have the operating system in my computer, then I have to dump it. Okay, I'll not be able to use that computer at all without operating system. All right, so that's very important point that you should remember. So finally, you got a little fair idea with respect to operating system also. Then what next? I have something called programming language, which I discussed in my previous slides. When I was discussing that, so please understand, please remember, so I have mentioned, all right, so all these languages. I have mentioned all these languages. What exactly this is all about? Basically, when I say that programming language, please understand, you need to remember, programming language is a set of rules called syntax. What is that? Programming language is a set of rules. It's called syntax. If I don't use syntax, so what is a similar synonym word for syntax? Say for example, whenever you are using a word called grammar, whenever you are using any language like Kannada or English or any language that you speak, so grammar is very important. Though you know how to speak, if the grammar is not correct, then the meaning will not be delivered properly. How grammar is very important for that language, in the same way, the syntax is very important for all the programming language. So that's what I will call it as a syntax here. And then, so please understand, when it comes to a computer language, so please understand, when it comes to computer language, already I have told you, so we have 3 different languages. How many different languages we have? We have 3 different languages. Again, so this 3 different language is getting classified, okay, into 2. So let's understand that. The first one is low level language. What is the first one that we have? Low level language. When I say low level language, under the category of low level language, I have 2 languages. So the first one is machine level language and assembly level language is the second one. When I say low level language, so we have 2 languages. So I will classify assembly level language and machine level language to the low level language. I will tell you why. I will tell you the reason why we call this 2 as a low level language. What is the third one that we have? We have the high level language. We have the high level language. When it comes to high level language, we have 2 categories again. One is general purpose language and specific purpose language. When I'm using my English kind of statements or English kind of a language, so that's what I will call it as a high level language. That's what I will call it as a high level language. Alright, so please understand, my computer programming languages are getting classified into 2. The first one is low level language and the second one is high level language. When it comes to low level language, I have machine level language and I have assembly level language. But when it comes to high level language, please remember, I have general purpose language and I have specific purpose language. So when it comes to general purpose language, I have the programming language called BASIC, Pascal and C. And when it comes to specific purpose language, I have COBOL, Fortran and C++. What exactly is this? Can you discuss this in detail? Yes. Let's understand this in detail now. It's time to understand what exactly machine level language is all about. What exactly high level language is all about, what exactly assembly level language is all about. Let's start one by one. Alright, so let's start with the machine level language. So what is that I have? Machine level language. So fine, I have machine level language as a topic for me now. So what exactly machine level language is all about? So please understand, machine level language is a fundamental language of a computer. Only it understands the zeros and ones. That's why I will call it as a fundamental language. It does not understand any other language. It does not understand any other language. That's the most important thing that you have to understand in this point. So fine, it is written using binary numbers. This language is formed with the help of binary numbers, that is zeros and ones. If I say binary, so you should remember 0 and 1. So what is the meaning of it, sir? Binary number in the sense, whatever you say, whatever you write, so it should be the combination of zeros and ones only. It will be a combination of zeros and ones only. You will not have anything else. Say for example, if I want to say hi, okay, just remember 0, 1, 1, 0. So will it be hi? No, exactly not. But I'm just giving an example, right? So it will be a combination of zeros and ones only. So this is what I will call it as binary numbers. Alright. So this language is made up of binary numbers is what you need to remember. So what is that? You need to understand. So machine level language, if I say machine level language is all about zeros and ones. That's an important point that you have to remember. So fine. What is the next point that I have to understand? So the next thing that you need to understand is a program written in machine level language is what I will call it as a machine code. If I have written my program using zeros and ones, that's what I will call it as a machine code. That's what I will call it as a machine code. So this is what you need to remember with respect to machine level language. I'll show you that with respect to machine level language. I have an instruction given in the machine language has two parts. Okay, if I give an instruction in the machine level language, so it will have two parts. The first one is opcode. The second one is operand. What is that? The first one is opcode. The second one is operand. So that's what you need to understand. What exactly opcode is all about? Operation code is what I will call it as opcode. What is that? Operation code is what I will call it as opcode. So the second one is operand. Second one is operand. So I will have the operands to perform the operation. I'll have the operands to perform the operation. That I will have the address, I'll have the locations, I'll have the values. So that's what you need to remember. But as of now, you just have to remember, so only two things. If I have my instructions in the machine level language, so it will have two things. One is opcode, another one is operand. That's what you just have to remember. Nothing much. This next important thing. So you got a fair idea about these two. What is that? I have machine level language and different parts of the machine level language. That you understood. What did you understood in machine level language? Everything will be in the form of zeros and ones. That's what you need to remember by closing your eyes. Alright. So moving on to the next one. What is the next one that I have in the low level language? The next one that I have is assembly level language. What is that I have? Assembly level language. So fine, what exactly this assembly level language is all about? What exactly this assembly level language is all about? So you all know that we have already discussed assembly level language is also a low level programming. So that's the first thing that you should remember. So fine, what are the next thing that you have to understand? So we have written the program using the assembly level language, especially mnemonics. So whenever you are writing the program in the assembly level language, so you will be using the mnemonics. You'll be using some words. Say for example, move. You will be using load. Okay, you will be using such kind of words. You are writing the program. You are writing your program using this mnemonics. You will be using this keywords. Alright, so this is what I will call it as a mnemonics. If you are using this kind of mnemonics in your program, so your program will be called as assembly level language. Your program is in the assembly level language. That's what you need to understand. So fine. So then what exactly assembly level language is all about? Let's relook once again. So my dear students, so first of all, you all know that it will be a low level programming language and you will be using, so please understand, you will be using letters, words and symbols. Letters, words and symbols. That's what I will call it as mnemonics. I gave you an example for mnemonics also. This is an example for mnemonics. If you are using letters, words and symbols in your language to write the program, then I will call that as assembly level language. That's what you need to remember. So fine, a program written in assembly level language, whatever you have written, so that will be in assembly code. Say for example, in the previous slide. So what is that you understood? Suppose if I'm writing the code, if you're writing my program using zeros and ones, so it will be called as what? Machine code. But now here, what is that I'm trying to call it as? Assembly code. You are writing the program with the help of mnemonics. Then your program will contain what? Your program will contain assembly code. That's what you need to remember. Alright, so moving on to the next one. So what is the next one that we have? So the next one that we have is high level language. The next one that we have is high level language. It's pretty simple. This is what we are using nowadays. What is that high level language is all about? So high level language in the sense the language designed to make the programmer easier through the familiar English words and symbols. In short, in simple, if you are using English kind of statements in your programming, that's what I will call it as high level language. So you will be using the English words, symbols, okay? So to write the program. So that's what I will call it as high level language. That's what I will call it as high level language. All right. The second one, so high level language uses the English language, language like English, which is easier to learn and use. This is what we have discussed already. High level languages are machine independent. That's a very important point. High level languages are machine independent. What exactly machine independent? It is not dependent on the particular machine. It is not dependent on particular machine. It can run in any machines. It can run in any machines. That's the important point that you need to remember. Say for example, let me just give you an example. You will download the apps from the Play Store, okay, which is of Android. I cannot run that in my Apple mobile. I cannot run that app which you have downloaded from the Play Store. I cannot run that app in my Apple phone. This application is machine dependent. This application is machine dependent. That's what you need to remember. So guys, if I write the program in high level language, that is machine independent. That is machine independent. That's what you need to remember. Some of the high level languages are C, C++, Java, Fortran, QBasic and Pascal. All these things will comes under the concept or will comes under the category of high level language. Will comes under the category of high level language is what you have to remember. So basically, the summary of this slide is high level language in the sense you will be using English words and symbols to write your program. That's what you need to remember. Why? What is the reason for that? Because it will make the programmer will feel very comfortable and very easy to write the program. So that's a major importance that we have. And also, whenever you write the program using high-level programming language, it will be machine independent. That is very important point. So what else we should know with respect to high-level language? So guys, so that's what you need to remember here. I have some more important and advantages here. The first advantage that I have with respect to high-level language is already I have discussed. The first thing is it is machine independent, and the second one is easy to learn and understand. Why it is easy to learn and understand? Because it will be in the form of English language. That's why it will be very easy. Everybody can understand. Everybody can understand if they know the English language. That's the second important point that we have. And easy to modify and debug the program. Debug in the sense what? It will be a new word for you. If you have a mistake and you have identified and you are trying to correct, so that process is what I will call it as a debug. That process is what I will call it as debug. That's what you need to remember at this point of time. So all these things I will call it as an advantage if I have high-level programming language. So my dear students, you got the complete knowledge about the different languages that we have. I have not discussed in depth about what exactly, when exactly we had started the machine level language and when we started the assembly language. All those history stuff I have not discussed. I have just given you what is required. Okay, so we have three different languages, machine level languages in the sense. So basically you will be using zeros and ones. All your code will be in machine code. Okay, so that's a very important point that you need to remember. And one more thing that I would like to tell you, when we compare high level language, these two, machine level language and assembly level language, is much faster than the assembly level language. Is it? No, than the high level language. Machine level language and assembly level language are much faster than the high level language. But unfortunately, much easier for all of us is high level language. So that's a sad part. That's what you need to remember. So guys, I have given you the brief knowledge with respect to the different languages that we have. Machine level language, zeros and ones is what you need to remember. And the next thing is, whatever you are writing in the machine level language, it will be in the form of machine code. So fine, you understood the machine level language. The second thing is assembly level language. Right? Assembly level language, you will be using the mnemonics. Mnemonics in the sense what? Letters, symbols, words. So if you are using that to write your program, so that's what I will call it as the assembly level language. The third one that I have is high level language. You are using the English kind of a statements. You are using the English kind of a statements and symbols to write your program. So that is what I will call it as high level language. So this is a brief discussion with respect to 3 different languages that we have. All right. So we have discussed the programming languages in detail. So moving on to the next one. So fine, we have discussed all these things. This is an end of the first session for all of you. So in the C programming session, what is that? Completely theory. Please bear with me till the next 2 sessions. After that, the complete programming concepts starts for all of you. I will show you the concepts practically, how to do that, how to execute each and everything. I will teach you each and every concepts practically. I will show you what exactly it is all about, and then I will teach you. So my dear students, if you have liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click a like button on this video. Thank you very much. By saying this, please take care of your health, and also please take care of yourself and also your family. Take care. Bye bye once again.